Hello and welcome to Diva Dirt TV. My name is John Duffy and I'm a writer for DivaDirt.com. So once you watch this video, head over to the website and check out all of the stuff that we do there every single day. Now, I know you're usually used to seeing me doing pay-per-view preview and predictions and stuff like that, but today I have got a very special guest. So without further delay, allow me to welcome one half of Team Seastars, one half of the Shimmer Tag Team Champions, Sabotage Tag Team Champions, and Battle Club Pro Tag Team Champions. That's a lot of tag team. That's a lot of tag team champions. Delmi Exo, oh, thank you so much. And how are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. We got heat in the house just recently, so
okay,
pretty
cool.
good.
that's always good. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Apart from making really good TikTok videos and finally getting back into the ring, what have you been up to as of late?
I just moved in with my boyfriend of 5 years.
Okay.
He's also a wrestler, Rip Bison. So I've been kind of the housewife since I moved states.
Yeah. Right.
Just been job searching right now during this time and kind of like organizing the whole house together, putting everything in order, and it's been great. We built a bar, like a little bar that you would have at a restaurant.
Awesome.
We built one of those together recently. It looks so cool.
Awesome. Well, because like we're back into kind of lockdown over here, so we can't go to kind of bars and we can go to restaurants, but you have to have food. You can't just go, So getting your own bar is a definite is something that's yeah.
I don't ever need to leave my house now.
Yeah. So when did you move? When was the that take place?
Beginning of October, right at the beginning of the month.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because we're doing exactly the same. One thing that lockdown taught us was I've got 2 kids, and they are getting not so little anymore. So we were like, right, we got to get a bigger place. Like, so we're doing the same, but we're in the middle of kind of lawyer solicitor hell at the minute. So.
Oh God! Well, good luck with all of that.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Cheers. Okay. So getting back on track. So last year that now seems 20 years ago, I actually did a piece of wrestlers to look out for in 2020, which you were part of. And until March, it was going rather well. So really, what was it like when all that came to a halt? What was the kind of your life adjustment and not being able to kind of do what you do best and get in the ring?
So when they announced quarantine, I had just come back from Japan. I kind of rushed over back into the country because my flights were getting all mixed up. I ended up having a 24-hour layover in Turkey. So it was a hectic time to get back home. So when they said, oh, we're going to quarantine, they announced it as 2 weeks, I believe. Right. That was like the thing. I was like, oh, everyone's going to take 2 weeks off. It would keep getting extended. And so at first it was like, oh, all right, we need this time. Like, this is good. Okay, we'll be able to, recover any kind of injuries. I was training twice a day in Japan, so everything was cracking on me. So it was good at first, and then after a while you just kind of get in your head a little bit. Thankfully me, Ash, and a few of our friends, we got to do tapings for Limitless, and that was a nice taste. It was without a crowd. They did temperature checks and just monitored all of us for a weekend. We did all these matches. And that was a nice taste to get back into the ring. We also had a training the day before. But yeah, we just kind of assumed that's the only wrestling we're going to do this year. Because you just start to realize the reality of it, the situation. No one has an idea of what to do right now. It is pretty scary. But I've just been keeping my head up. And I mean, as important as wrestling is for me, I just know there's like the situation that's happening in the world is bigger than that. So we just have to like kind of be patient and understanding, and hopefully things turn up for us eventually.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that kept me entertained was kind of obviously scrolling through Twitter daily and like kind of seeing everyone's like crazy Amazon purchases and lockdown purchases. Like, for example, I bought a bouncy castle for my kids, which kind of turned into a wrestling ring anyway. So did you have any weird, crazy Amazon lockdown purchases?
Weird ones. Let me see. I did end up going crazy with like gym equipment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like me and Ashley had nothing almost. Mm-hmm. And so Rip was the one who like kind of lent us some stuff that like was kind of like baby weights for him. So then from there, I bought like gym floor for the house that me and Ashley were living in together. She bought a like cable tower. Right. So now she has like a whole gym setup in her house. Right, and I have a whole gym setup over here in the garage with Calvin.
Yeah.
There was one purchase me and Ashley had made together. We bought a squat rack that was supposed to be like attached to the wall, but we're horrible. And when we like got it, it was too tall for the room. Right. Like, it was too tall for any of the rooms, so we couldn't use it. So my boyfriend bought Ashley's half off from her, and now it's in the garage here in this house. Okay, so after 6 months.
At least you got at least you got use out of it in the end.
Yeah, we didn't want to send it back because it's like, I mean, people are going crazy with like buying gym equipment. So like if you did find something, someone was reselling it brand new.
Yeah.
For like way higher, and we're like, why? But we went crazy with gym equipment. I'll say that.
Okay, well at least that's practical and beneficial. Yeah. So it's a sensible purchase as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I did see someone bought an ant farm, and I kind of wanted that. Like they sell you the little cubicles and the ants.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to put that on my wish list.
I shouldn't have told you.
Yeah, we'll all be creating gigantic ant farms in our houses. So again on Twitter, one of the best things that I saw was your TikTok video, your ode to the great Muda. Oh man, that was so good. Because I saw it coming up, and I was like, saw that the makeup and the mannerisms and the movements were like, down to a T. And then there's that bit where you just go outside and just absolutely cover Ashley in green mist. And I was just like, I'm creasing up laughing. So first, 2 questions is Great Muda one of your inspirations, and how did you get Ashley to agree getting green mist in the face?
So Great Muda is he is someone I've seen.
Oh, wow.
I used to watch old NWA when I first started training, because you just have to learn basics at first. Like you can't really watch NXT and be like, okay, that's the match I'm going to recreate. Right. Like, no, that's not going to happen for you. I'm sorry. So I would watch old school NWA, and he was one of like the cool ones who just kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was before I started training. So I didn't realize how big of an icon he was until after I like actually started training. I was like, oh wow, like Japanese wrestling in general is like so huge. I think it's great how like serious he was taken back then, because as we've seen, like after him, like anytime someone of like Asian ethnicity trying to come into like American wrestling, it would kind of be like tweaked and turned into like a joke, or like it was never like, it was always mid-card. They were never like at the top. So I think it's pretty good seeing that and like going back and being like, oh, it wasn't always like this. Like it wasn't always brushed off. He has such an incredible legacy. And so I knew when I was starting to do my cosplay videos that he was one that I wanted to do. I just didn't know how, because he never cut promos for himself as the Great Muda. And so I just kind of like was messing around with audio bits, and I kind of just threw together like all his introductions. And I sent it to one of my friends, Perry Von Vicious, and he was like, what if you missed Ashley? What if you gave her the mist? And Ashley was coming home from work from like a 9-hour work shift. And as soon as she came through the door, my face was already painted as Muda because I did the whole beginning bit. And I was like, can I please mist you? And she was down with it. Awesome. We had our mom record it.
Yeah.
I feel really bad because the first 2 takes that we did, as I was spitting on her, it wasn't showing. And then I would keep dumping in green food coloring. I was like, how did he do this? Like, what is happening? And she finally was the one after like the 4th take. She was like, okay, let me just dump it over my head. They're not going to see me until like the camera pans.
Tricks of the trade. Yeah.
Yeah. She also like poured some in her mouth to hold so she could do like the whole like spit out take part of it. So she committed to that role.
That is dedication to getting the mist. Oh my God. Oh, but yeah, because it was so, because he even retweeted it, didn't he, as well? And yeah. So that's awesome. Like, yeah, because again, that was just one of the things that like stood out to me on Twitter during the whole, get lockdown and stuff. So it was really good to see, really entertaining stuff. So thanks.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll let her know it was worth it.
Yes, please. Yeah, please do. Yeah. So with you kind of watching Muta and studying Muta, is Japanese wrestling an influence on your career?
Yes. So when I first started training, they were asking everyone, oh, what is your goal? Like, what is the level that you want to achieve? Everyone kind of said WWE in some shape or another. And I was the one person who was like, I want to wrestle in Japan. I loved anime growing up. Like, I was a huge Naruto fan and just like into the culture. The high school I went to, I studied Japanese for 4 years. And that was the only reason I went there. It was like a college preparatory school. And I was like, well, I don't want to go to college, but I would love to speak Japanese. Wow. And I did get to spend 10 days in Japan in high school for like a youth ambassador program. So like my goal was always like, I want to go back to Japan. Like, I just love that country so much. And when I said that goal for wrestling, I think my trainer at the time was just like, oh God, dear Lord, because I didn't understand how like crazy it is in Japan and how like much more like cutthroat it is. And so I'm just like a little 17-year-old, like, I want to go to Japan. And I did have one tryout with Marvelous. I think I was a year in, which I failed. Like the first time I tried out for Marvelous, I completely did not make the cut. The second time going in was when I finally passed and like made it in and like got into the dojo. And I spent almost 3 months there. And
was that earlier this year?
Yes, it was from January to March. Awesome. And so it was like my favorite time training in a ring, just like every day being there and like living the lifestyle, really.
Yeah, because that's one of my perfect lead into one of my other questions was what was the kind of living and training experience like for you in Japan?
I would say it was like very otherworldly or out of body. It was a very out of body experience. Like being there, half the time I didn't realize it was real. I was just like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be my life right now. And it felt like a weird thing where like I was like, when I'd wake up, I'd be like, oh God, like I am actually here. Like,
yeah.
I guess I'll say like the cons, missing like your family and not being able to just drive, because I am used to like driving because of wrestling. Like, oh, if someone's 4 hours away, that doesn't feel as far. But I felt very small because of how significantly far away I was from everyone I knew.
Yes.
Like it's a whole different time zone, and you're just like, wow, like I think it kind of brought a realization of like how small I was, like compared to this world. It does kind of bring you down to earth and like, I don't want to say humble, because it's not like I wasn't humbled already, but it just makes you realize how much things mean altogether in the picture. We would train twice a day, every day except Sundays, or if we had a show on Saturdays. And the training was pretty good. We ran a lot, and that was probably like my least favorite, was running. When I first started, because I came in at like a heavier weight for myself. I weighed 145, and I did that because I didn't want to be fragile.
Right.
I knew I was going to be training all the time, so I didn't want my joints to be weaker, which I didn't realize we were going to be running, so that was horrible. It was nice getting along with the girls in the dojo. It was kind of like living in a sorority, because I never went to college, so I'm assuming that's what a sorority is like living with all these girls, except they were way nicer than sorority girls. So maybe not a sorority, but like it was just like a nice sisterhood, and like we all got along. There was one night, me and Masha Slamovich decided to make dinner for them, because they were always in charge of dinner.
Right.
And we were like, oh, what do you guys want? Like, we'll make something Russian or something Mexican. And they were like, we want hamburgers and French fries. And we were like, okay. So we were struggling trying to fry potatoes with oil, and it kept like burning us, like shooting out at us, and we were just like, fuck. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, swear, yeah.
We were like, fuck. And they were just watching us like, are they okay? We're like, we're fine. Dinner's ready in 5 minutes.
So you had like a grueling training session, and then you get loads of hot fat spat at you while you're trying to make everyone dinner.
Yeah, it's like you have to make dinner for 12 people.
Oh,
so difficult.
Oh, wow.
They had so many dogs. They still do. They kind of have like a shelter in the house.
Oh, wow.
So all the girls take care of the dogs. And I never liked small dogs because I have pit bulls.
Okay.
But now I'm like obsessed with Frenchies, and I'm just like, I keep begging my boyfriend for us to get one. I'm just like, please, like it'll be the guard dog in the house.
Yeah, there seems to be a massive influx of wrestlers getting puppies and dogs and stuff, hasn't there, since lockdown? I know my son's pestering me to get a dog, but until, as I said, until we move, then we'll think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So, when, as you said before, you got back into the ring for Limitless, and it was the Road series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was, like you said, it was in front of the other wrestlers, wasn't it? Did you kind of act as the fans for the other matches and stuff like that?
Yeah, we did actually. I'm like the best fan, so I think that's why they booked me. Only for my fan interactions. I make like the most noise whenever I'm sitting, because I just get so into it, and then because I don't know what they like discussed and what they decided to make as the ending sequence, I'm always are you kidding me? Like, that's not it. Like, what more can you take? These are tapings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's some pretty brutal stuff on there, I saw. Yeah. So, but then finally you got back in front of fans at the Collective weekend, where you wrestled twice. Firstly, for the best wrestling event name ever, Effie's Big Gay Brunch, and secondly at Shimmer 118. Looking at the footage, I watched Shimmer and Bloodsport, which were really good stuff. You could see when the wrestlers come out, the buzz that they got from the crowd. Albeit limited, but there was, the noise, the kind of the buzz again. So what was that like for you to you know, finally get back in front of fans?
Yeah, there definitely was a buzz. Me and Ashley we were opener for Effie's Big Gay Brunch. So there's always kind of like a chill that you get as an opener because you're kind of waiting backstage right where you can hear everything. And they were doing this big like presentation for an award for Effie with one of the governors of Indiana. And so we were just waiting, and it feels like time is just being longer, and you kind of are like ready to go. You're ready to go, and then you're like waiting, so it's just like, okay, come on, let's wrap this up. And then just like going out through the curtain, and it's just like a weird feeling of just like, oh wow, like it's like a head rush almost. I think that is something that wrestlers kind of get addicted to, or we are addicted to, is that rush and like that instant wave of satisfaction that fans get from seeing you or seeing something that you do. Something I found very difficult during the road. My first match that I had, it was very hard hitting, and it was with my boyfriend. At the end of the match, like once the cameras like turned off, I like sat up and I was like I didn't know how the match was.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I see.
You can hit everything spot on, but you're not getting that instant feedback. Of like applause or like, oh, good job. Like, we're all friends. Like the other wrestlers aren't going to stand up for us and be like, oh, good job after the cameras go off. They're going to be like, okay, my job's done. I'm going to go eat. So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, wow, that was awful. Like,
right. Wow.
You don't feel that. I mean, with the collective, a lot of people felt that instant feedback that they didn't get, whether they were doing tapings or not wrestling at all or just training. So, I mean, I don't take that, the collective for granted, because I know not everyone's had that opportunity who maybe wants it, but they're also like, they're understanding of the pandemic right now. And they're like, I'm not going to risk it because of who I live with or like family I'm around and stuff like that. So it was a great opportunity. Even though it's probably going to be the only one this year. But I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to finally wrestle for the collective and get that kind of out for the year and just like say like, okay, well, the year didn't all go to waste.
Well, no, not at all, because also most recently you were ranked number 75 in the PWI Women's 100. That's quite an achievement. How did that feel to did you know beforehand, or did you find out kind of with everyone else, like as when you opened the digital version of the magazine?
So I knew about the women's one ahead of time, but that was after, because I had no idea about the top 500 that I was going to be in it.
Of course, yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, what the? I was like, oh yeah, like that was probably like the highest level of happiness. But then the women's one, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but they told us, because they were like, oh, we were going to write an article on you guys, on me and Ashley as Team Seastars. So can we interview you, because you placed in the 500 and you're placing in the women's. And I was like, whoa, I placed in the women's. So awesome. I didn't get to see it when everyone else was finding out on Twitter. I knew like ahead of time. So it's more of like, it's less of like a big surprise, I guess. But it's still like very happy. I pre-ordered the magazine so I can hang up in this room, which is going to be like the wrestling kind of trophy room.
I can see the figures and stuff behind you. Yeah.
So I have the first one so far, and now I ordered the top 100 women's. So it's exciting. I'm gonna put them in frames and be like, this is it. I can retire.
That's cool. So just as we record this, you're 3 days out from holding the Shimmer Tag Team Championships for a full year. Now, I know it's not your first Tag Team Championships that you've held for a year, but how does that feel to become a year-long title holder and to do it with your sister as Team Seastars?
Oh, wow. First of all, thank you for mentioning that, because I had no idea. Oh man, I'm gonna see her. I have to take a picture with her now so we can post about that.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit, so send me your Instagram after this. It's great, actually. Funny enough, when last year's PWI women's list came out, me and Ashley weren't on it, and it was the weekend right before we were winning the tag titles. We had no idea, and so I remember seeing Ashley like really sad about it, because she's older than me by 7 years. So she kind of feels like pressure to hit all the milestones right away right now. I think it's changed now. I think she's finally like understanding the long game because of so many people who are now getting signed and they have been doing it for so long. So it's good to see for women. But it really got to her last year. And then we were just having a banger of a weekend. We got to do bar wrestling, and we cosplayed as the Young Bucks against Jake Atlas and Dom. And so from there we went and we did Rise, we did Shimmer, and then we did we won the titles that weekend. And so we were on like a good high. And I think at that point in my head, I like realized like the list didn't matter. Well, I like didn't really like want to seem so depressed for her. I was just like, it's fine. Like, I'll make it eventually. But I think in that moment, I was like, oh, like the list doesn't matter, because it's like all about like the moments that you have in the ring. And like not every moment gets documented for a magazine, but the people who you perform in front of kind of reciprocate that moment, and they'll always like remember it. Hopefully, fingers crossed that they never like end up losing their minds, but they'll always remember it. So I mean, it's crazy. It's like literally from like opening Twitter and not being on the list and being sad about it to like a year later and being like, oh, I made both lists.
Smashing it. Oh, that's awesome. So wrapping up, what is in the pipeline for Team Seastars and for yourself individually, maybe towards the end of this year, or most likely 2021?
So hopefully, if things don't change, we do have something in the works for our friends up in Maine, Limitless. We might have one kind of like grand finale to kind of summarize the road. I'm not sure when Randy's going to be announcing it, but that's kind of like a safe project, since it's not going to be a live audience type of environment. So it's more than likely going to happen. And then I do think I will be scheduled in Texas for Sabotage in December. Hopefully nothing changes that. But yeah, I'll be making a return to Texas.
Awesome. Do you think, is there a trip to the UK ever in the future, do you think, to wrestle over here?
I want to. Now that I've checked Japan off my list, the UK is now where I'm looking, and just Europe in general as a whole. I just recently started digging into over the top wrestling.
Cool.
Ireland, and I'm like obsessed with their vibe and just like the production quality. It's so good.
That's a raucous experience from a fan's point of view as well, you know. So I can't imagine what it'd be like to perform in front of them. I think that about wraps it up, as we're coming up to the end of the allotted time. So just want to thank you for your time. Congratulate you on hitting 2 lists, PWI lists this year, and becoming the year long shimmer tag team champions with
Ashley.
Yeah. Awesome. So with that being said, thanks again, and take care.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.